and I'm running for New York State Assembly District 1, and I would like to invite you to my campaign kickoff on May 16th at 6 p.m. at the VFW Post 5350, located at 101 Riverhead Road in West Hampton Beach. Join me for cocktails and conversation about how we need to preserve home rule and bring back the rule of law to New York. I look forward to seeing you. Thanks.
NASCAR. Do you like a Tribe Called Quest? Well, you gonna love the Urban Conservative.
Do you like manwich and nachos? Well, then you'd love the Urban Conservative.
Do you like guns? Do you like butter? Well, you're gonna love the Urban Conservative.
Yo, what's good, son? You like pit bulls, say? You like solving Sudoku puzzles? Then you gonna love the Urban Conservative.
Hey, buddy, if your car making a sound like this, you might want to get you some power steering fluid and check out the Urban Conservative podcast.
Are you repulsed by the idea of drag queen story time at your local library, but enjoy Carol Baskin TikTok memes? Then you would enjoy the Urban Conservative.
Do you want to slap your boss and then go home and make yourself some golden brown pancakes covered in butter and freshly made warm boysenberry syrup? Then you'll love the Urban Conservative.
You're a little over Cardi B, and you're repulsed by the thought of hog maw. Check out the Urban Conservative. You ready? If you think the earth is flat and always on that weird side of YouTube, check out the Urban Conservative. They'll set you straight.
If you're in a chasing dopey and you love salad fish and festival, check out the Urban Conservative.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, you know what it is. It's a Monday night. It's 8 p.m. It's time for the Urban Conservative Podcast. I am Abdul Ali. As always, I'm joined by my twin brother, Raheem, architect Soto. Our mission here at the Urban Conservative is to share conservative values and principles and the benefits of conservative policies to urban communities across this great nation of ours. Website you can go to support our mission, tuconservative.com. As you see on your screen, you can grab yourself a work privilege mug, an Urban Conservative t-shirt, support our morning show. It makes your coffee taste better to grab a top of the morning mug there on the Urban Conservative. Again, tuconservative.com is the website as well. Shameless plug. I am indeed running for U.S. House District 12. The website to support that, Ali for Congress, ALIFOR, Congress.com is the website you need to go to support my run for U.S. House District 12. Last but certainly not least, we want to let each and every one of y'all know that ongoing right now is registration for the 2024 North Carolina Republican Convention. It's going down at the Corey Center in Greensboro, May 23rd through the 26th. Amazing speakers lined up. Kash Patel, Laura Trump, Eric Trump, Vivek Ramaswamy, the new RNC committeeman, former chairman of the North Carolina Republican Party, Michael Watley, will also be in the building for that. So
I'm mad I'm not going to be there for that, man. I'm tight about that. I would have, I'm just tight, man. I wish I was there for that.
Wait, salty about not coming down for that one?
Yeah, I got too much going on and I can't get down there. But, that's going to be a heck of a time right there. And while you're plugging, also big shouts out to Stephen Kiley running for 1st Assembly District here in New York. Make sure you come out and enjoy that event. Come get a drink with them. Let's talk about home rule. Let's talk about, saving our community out here on the east end of Long Island. And let's not let the Democrats take this one. We need this 1st Assembly seat. So shouts out to him. This is going to be a good interview because we got a show alumni tonight, Ali.
Yeah, we do. And one of the interesting things is I have literally seen Hal Weatherman everywhere, right? Like when I say everywhere, I go to the mountains house there. I go to the coast house there. I can't think of one time I've been somewhere in the last like
Oh,
7 months.
that sounds like a new commercial. How's there?
Well, ladies and gentlemen, as my brother said before, we do have a very special guest with us joining us tonight on the Urban Conservative. Our good friend, show alumni, candidate for North Carolina Lieutenant Governor Hal Weatherman is in the building. How you doing, sir?
Gentlemen, it's great to be with y'all. I'm doing fine. Hope y'all are.
Hey, we're doing good. And for the record, for the audience, Hal literally just stepped off a stage at an event and jumped on our show. So we're honored that you would take some time out of what is a probably hectic schedule. I'm sure you wish you'd be focusing on the general right now.
Well, yes, but that's, we don't do coronations in this state. And so the process has played out. We were the top vote getter for lieutenant governor on the Republican side. We had an 11-man field on primary election night. We were the top vote getter, which is great. We won 62 of the 100 counties, and we got 181,000 votes. But we fell short of the 30% needed to avoid a runoff. And so the second place finisher, who we defeated by 34,000 votes on election night, and we defeated him in 80 of the 100 counties. He did call for a runoff, which is his right, and so that runoff is now. It's next week. It's May 14th, and early voting is underway right now, which means anywhere in the state you can go vote right now through May 11th, and again May 14th is the election. But yeah, sure, runoffs are brutal. The primary was hard enough. My wife and I. This is interesting. We campaigned, as you said. You saw. By the way, if you saw me everywhere, that means you were there, right? So. Right. I mean, that goes both ways. That means you're working hard too, and I know you are, and you have been for some time. And good for you for doing that. But my wife and I, we traveled. We went to all 100 counties. We were the only candidate in an 11-man field to go to all 100 counties. We went to 35 counties 5 times or more. We went to 10 counties 10 times or more during the primary. And so, you get through the primary, and we had a good night. I say we won with an asterisk mark. We won, but we got to win it again in the runoff. And the runoff is like a 60-day sprint where you're trying to, take that 15, 16-month campaign you just ran and cram it into 60 days. And it's just near impossible. So, yeah, it's really rough. I'm not going to lie. I'm pretty tired right now. But I consider it great joy to travel the state. I really do. And we aim to win. And with the Lord's help and the people's support, we will.
So I have on the screen how what you were talking about is the county map of who won what counties. And as you look at this, they've got you as this teal kind of color on the map, right? I mean, it was not, I'll say it was not even close. I mean, when you look at the number of counties that you won, well, let's kind of fast forward. You've been on the show before. I want to kind of talk a little bit about this whole idea of running for lieutenant governor. For those of the folks who might be watching that are on the fence, not sure, they may have voted for one of the other 11 candidates during the primary. What sets Hal Weatherman apart from your opponent in this primary? What's the big reason folks should pull that lever, fill in that circle for Hal Weatherman?
Well, first and foremost, I would say there will be no on-the-job training for Hal Weatherman when he's lieutenant governor. I had the honor and the privilege to be chief of staff to your previous lieutenant governor, Dan Forrest, who is an amazingly fine man and was a great lieutenant governor. And that job afforded me that time with Dan. I was with him for 10 years. We were in office for 8. But I was with him for an additional 2 years because we campaigned for the office of lieutenant governor first, in 2011, 2012 for 21 months. So really, I worked for him for 10 years. It afforded me the opportunity to travel the state. And this is something, a lot of people think traveling the state is like a PR stunt. It's not. If you want to lead a state as a governor or lieutenant governor, I believe that you need to intimately know the state. You need to know its strengths and its weaknesses. You need to know its strengths so that when you are in a position of power, you can play to the strengths. And you need to know its weaknesses so that you can marshal the resources to mitigate those weaknesses in your state. And so traveling the state is crucial, not just for campaigning. It's crucial to intimate between, as you know, the urban areas and the rural, or east and west, or
Right.
just culturally different. The issues are different, and I hear all the time from the people in the far east and equally in the far west that, hey, nobody ever comes out here, like ever, like no
Yeah.
elected officials ever come out here. And that's half the battle, is just being relevant from a political standpoint. But, I think that's sad. I think if you're the governor or the lieutenant governor of the state, you should be a servant leader. And servant leader starts by first humbling yourself, traveling the state, meeting people, and say, how can I serve you? And so, I would think that would be it. In terms of policy differences, I don't really know the differences between myself and my opponent. And I hate to say that, because I've been on the road for 16 straight months, 5 and 6 days a week, continuously for 16 straight months. I don't know how many events that we have done, but it's going to be in the very high hundreds. Like, it's going to be like maybe
At least
600-700 events. I've seen my opponent, I think, 3 times. I've never really heard him answer questions. I don't really know where he stands. And so I don't want to say anything bad about him or anything like that. It's his right to run.
Sure.
And, but, I want to be a servant leader. And if I do have the honor and the privilege to win, I'm not gonna govern from Raleigh. Now, don't get me wrong. I'll have an office in Raleigh. If I'm, I'll be the president of the Senate. I'll have to preside over the General Assembly when they are in Raleigh. But other than that, I'm going to govern from the road. I'm not going to stop pulling off the road. I'm going to stay on the road, because I want people to have a lieutenant governor that they know personally. I want them to have my personal cell phone. I want them to call me. I want them to hold me accountable. I want to know what I can do to help them. If God gives me this if God and the voters give me this amazing window of opportunity, whether it's 4 years or 8 years in office, I'm going to maximize it to serve as many people as I can and to help as many people as I can. Then when that's over, I'll go home.
There you go.
I'll feel good about myself and feel good about the work that we did. So I hope that answers your question.
Perfectly. Ladies and gentlemen, we are talking with Hal Weatherman, candidate for North Carolina's lieutenant governor. Runoff going on in North Carolina right now. Go ahead, jump in the comment section. Give us your questions. I actually do have one question that came out of Hendersonville. Question is, Hal, we can hear you. The question for you, Hal, is, what is your position on all of these riots going on at college campuses? I don't know that we can call them riots, but that's the question. What's your position on all the happenings on college campuses in North Carolina? Hal, you still there? Can you hear us, bro? Hal. All right, y'all. Sounds like Hal is on the road. We're having a little technical difficulty, so we'll give him a second to regroup. We're going to take a quick commercial break, maybe. Rock, can you hear me at least?
Yes, sir.
All right, I think we lost Hal for a second here. Hold on. We're getting him back on. All right, Hal, you still there? Mic check. 1, 2. This is the beauty of live interviews, ladies and gentlemen. Hal, you still there?
I am. Sorry.
All right. We'll edit that section out.
Because we're mobile right now. We're on the move, and we could have gone through a bad area. I don't know.
Sounds like we jumped cell phone towers. While we were on hold, a question came in from Hendersonville. And the question was regarding the, they said riots in the question. I'm just going to call them interesting protests. But what's your position on the protests going on college campuses in North Carolina?
I think it's a clarion call. I think it's a wake up call for America. I actually think that what you're witnessing right now, first of all, everything's in context. So you have to put things in context. We have had a completely collapsed southern U.S. border where literally hundreds of thousands, if not millions of military age men have streamed across our border. Many of them are from countries that do commit terrorism against the United States. And so, in the, the coverage, in the interviews, the post-event interviews and whatnot, it is very clear that on most of these college campuses, the vast majority of the quote protesters aren't even students. They're not even students. That they're calling them agitators. I want people to wake up and realize if there is an adult, able-bodied, military-age man on a college campus who doesn't belong there, he's not a student there, and he's wearing a headscarf that says Hamas or one of the other state, terrorist organizations.
Right.
Why would you assume that's not who they are, especially with an open border? I actually think what you're starting to witness now are trial runs. That's my personal, I don't care what that sounds like. That's what I personally believe. Testing the capacity of our security forces, testing how we respond to things. And, I personally believe that America, North Carolina even, we will experience a wave of what I call, homegrown jihadi-based terrorism in this next term. Why would we assume that we wouldn't with all these people streaming across the border? So, I'm totally against, obviously, the protest. They're going, sure, I believe in free speech. But when you're openly calling for genocide, when you are in the face of a Jewish individual and you're preventing their movement on campus, when you're threatening them, when you're calling for a mass annihilation of the Jews, if they are foreign based and they have some kind of visa, we should revoke their visa and send them home, first of all. If they are a naturalized or citizen otherwise here in the United States and they have a right to be there and to express their First Amendment rights, the second they start calling for genocide and things of that nature, expel them and send them home. If I were I love that some of the big donors of some of these big schools, prestigious schools, Columbia, Harvard, things like that, I love that some of these big donors are standing up and pulling their funding from the school. I love it. It is time that Americans start standing up and realizing that, hey guys, this is literally like the things that are being said and tolerated on on some of these campuses by the campus administrators. It's so reminiscent of Europe, late 1930s.
Wow.
That it should scare people of what the future holds. And so, no, it's disgusting. It's absolutely disgusting.
Right on.
Thankfully, you're starting to see a backlash now, and from American patriots who are standing up and saying, "No, we're going to do it." Listen, I know Lee Roberts, the chancellor at Chapel Hill.
Yeah,
I love that he went out there. I love that the frat boys got out there and protected the flag to the best of their ability. I love that the chancellor himself went out there and put the American flag back up on the pole stand at Chapel Hill, no less. Good for him.
Hey, Hal, not
that.
for nothing. One of the things, since they mentioned this, a letter, and this was just a couple hours ago, more than 750 faculty and staff at UNC Chapel Hill signed a letter calling on administrators to dismiss the charges against college students involved in the April 30th protest at Polk Place. So now they should get a pass, is basically what the faculty and staff are asking for.
Who gets the pass? I missed that. Get the people who were out there taking down the American flag and
correct. That's
unbelievable.
Yep. That's what they're asking for. But it's good to know that we have someone running for lieutenant governor that has an eye on this stuff, because I know you had mentioned out on the campaign trail, which is problematic for me and for the folks that live in North Carolina, when you hear about substations, electrical substations being attacked, trains derailing. I mean, That's serious stuff. And to have somebody, oblivious to what's actually happening is dangerous, I think, for our state. So I'm glad to hear that you as Lieutenant Governor are thinking that way. One thing I want to kind of switch gears here. I know we have a primary, but I'm going to assume that the trend holds and that you'll make it through the primary. I know you don't take anything for granted, but we're talking about taking on Rachel Hunt, governor's daughter, all that kind of thing. What do you foresee, if anything, in a state that is predominantly unaffiliated and Democrat? What do you think the attraction for folks to vote for a Republican for lieutenant governor is?
Well, and I am myopically focused right now on my May 14th primary runoff.
Yes, sir.
Because there is no tomorrow if I fall short there. I'll just simply say, I think Rachel is going to have the same problem that Democrats at all levels in our country are going to have this election cycle, is that she is affiliated with a party that has been, in effect, hijacked by a far wacko left wing of its party, who is now calling the shots in that party. And, that wing of the party and her affiliation with it runs completely counter to common sense, to the values of the state, to the values of America. And she's going to have to own some of that. It was under their administration. It was under on the Democrats' watch that we've seen our gas prices go up. We've seen inflation go up. We've seen people not be able to make decisions where they have to buy. Do I buy my groceries or do I buy my medicines for this month? And that's on them. We've watched on crime policies. We've watched them, what we just talked about, let the southern border completely implode, let people stream into our country, taking away the sovereignty and threatening the security of all Americans. They are appointing or electing district attorneys around the country that are implementing cashless bail and catch and release, no prosecution policies, which are driving our crime rates through the roof.
Right.
When they are given the chance, they set up so-called sanctuary cities, which just becomes a magnet and a haven for all these people who are coming in here illegally and bringing what comes with that, be it drugs, crime, human trafficking, all of that comes in. That's her party. That's what they're advocating. They're continuously after our Second Amendment rights. And I tell people in today's world, think about it. That party, the same party that's doing catch and release, cashless bail, sanctuary cities, broken southern border, allowing people to stream in. They want to defund the police. And oh, by the way, they want to take your last line of defense away from you, the right to bear arms. Listen, I tell people all the time, in today's world, with the culture and the society we have now inherited under the last 3 years under this administration, I believe that every of-age American should own a firearm, should be trained in how to use it, should be trained in how to store it, and should carry it with them at all times. Because that's the world we live in now. That's the world that Rachel Hunt's party has given us.
Wow.
And so
Well
she's
said.
gonna have to own all of that. I'm gonna be pushing for safe communities, schools that work. I want to get all the politics out of our schools.
Right.
Rachel's on the side of CRT. She's fine with DEI. She's fine with SEL. She's fine with all these 3-letter acronyms that are just basically the woke agenda broken into their component parts and then inserted into our school systems to divide us. That's what I want to get, all of that out of the schools, right? And go back to reading, writing, arithmetic, science, civics. We would have a disagreement on the security of the schools. I want every school, high school, middle school, elementary school, public, private, Christian, otherwise parochial, all of it. I want every one of them to have an armed SRO officer on duty at all times to protect the most precious resource that we have in this state, which is our children. And it is asinine that we do not already have that in today's world.
That is
absolutely crazy that we don't have that.
You absolutely crazy, asinine, all the above fits when you, especially considering that a lot of times we're talking about people unfortunately, the response time, it takes so long.
Sure.
6 minutes, 5 minutes is a long time when there's an active shooter situation at a school. So I definitely
Absolutely.
agree with you on that. One thing and here in North Carolina, I think I don't know where people would land on this, but I think it's Kentucky or Alabama just passed a law that if a teacher wants to be armed in the classroom, they're going to let them be armed in the classroom.
Yeah.
So I'm not opposed to that either.
I'm not opposed to it at all. Listen, I think again, we have a Second Amendment right. We have a right that is expressly granted to us, right? And so, absolutely, I'm for constitutional carry. If a teacher or an administrator wants to carry a firearm to protect themselves, I'm fine with it.
Okay.
I'm fine. I'm absolutely fine. I don't believe in restrictions, right? It's my right. It's your right. And the society. Listen, when you go into a building, when a person goes up to a building and there is a
Right.
sign on it that says no firearms allowed here, you are telling every criminal that's out there that wants to do evil, and evil does exist in this world, that this place, I've got a bunch of sitting ducks. And that's where they go. And that's
right.
wrong.
Yeah,
That's
you're
wrong.
absolutely.
What do you
You're
think the
right
guy
that is wrong.
Yeah, you think the guy that's going to go commit some horrible crime, you think he goes up premeditated and he sees that on the door and says, "Oh crap, I can't do what I was about to do because there's a sign here that says guns aren't allowed." Are you kidding me? The only people who do that are the law-abiding citizens. And we just need to understand the context of the world we live in today. People need to be responsible and they need to be able to protect themselves at all times in today's world. And I really do attribute a lot of that to the collapse of the southern border and to these policies that the wacko wing of the liberal Democrat Party has put in place now. And it's causing absolute chaos in some of our urban areas. Literally.
Nice. Hey, you're right. I gotta before we switch gears, I do want to make mention of this. There was a funeral today for one of the officers that lost their life in the events of last week here in Charlotte. 4 officers, law enforcement officers down. It was another ceremony today, Hal. And one of the interesting things, and I don't want to politicize that, but I find it really odd when I see people like Merrick Garland, when I hear the mayor of Charlotte, when I hear these Democrats who were in favor of defunding the police, what's the other term? Reimagining law enforcement, to hear them now all because of this incident have such glowing things to say, it really burns my britches to hear how they jump on the bandwagon of, oh, we're so sorry, but that's not what y'all were standing for. And then now they're calling for, we need more gun laws. Well, this guy wasn't a legal gun owner. He was actually a felon who wasn't supposed to have guns. So, to use these incidents as a means to call for more restrictions on our Second Amendment is just something I'm not a fan of at all.
The most violent places, gun related, that we have in America today, the most violent, where the vast majority of the gun violence is happening, are actually in the states and in the cities that have the most restrictive gun rights.
Wow.
Because the only people who abide by them are the law-abiding people. So basically, you start taking the guns away from the people who are responsible. And the criminals, they don't do that. So then they have sick ducks everywhere. And so it's just, it's the age-old problem. Yeah, I don't want to politicize it either. I don't, I know Charlotte was just rocked by that. And I think we can all join together and say that,
right
pray
on.
for families and all that. I mean, I totally get it. But yeah, some of these policies are directly responsible for a lot of these things. And we need to be tough on crime.
Talking about gun ownership, the Second Amendment, the importance of having a lieutenant governor that supports our Second Amendment, that understands that we need to defend that right to carry and bear arms, talking about having a lieutenant governor that wants to keep us safe. You may not be able to hear this, but I'm about to play on the screen a very interesting video that you just shared. I don't know if you can hear it, but Mark Robinson has come out to endorse y'all. Ladies and gentlemen, listen to this.
I'm Mark Robinson. If you support me for governor, give me the lieutenant governor I need by my side. In the May 14th runoff election, go vote and vote Hal Weatherman for lieutenant governor. We will make a great team. I'm Mark Robinson.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, you heard it here. Mark Robinson has come out to endorse for Lieutenant Governor Hal Weatherman. Tell me, bro, how does that feel having the support of Mark Robinson, bro?
That's great. In fact, the event I just walked out of was Mark's event. Like Mark's literally in the house right behind me. I'm in front of the house. He's still there.
Okay.
No, it was awesome. Listen, I believe in Mark. I always have. I think he is a transformational candidate, meaning with Mark, we as Republicans not only start to win the political war, but we start to win the cultural war. And I'm honored to have his endorsement. I'm happy. It's a huge help to me, and I'm looking forward to campaigning with him some as we go forward, and hopefully governing with him. I want to be there to help him and to we don't run as a ticket in North Carolina, but I've publicly said, if I'm elected, if I have that honor and privilege, yes, I will serve the people that elect me because I'll be duly elected at that point in my own right. But I will equally make myself subservient to a certain degree to Governor Mark Robinson so that I can force multiply for him and serve him. Because I think, there's a reason. I think there's a reason Jesus sent the apostles out in twos. There's a reason. There's accountability. There's support. And I think governing a state is hard and lonely, and there's a lot on your plate. And so if in some small way as Lieutenant Governor under Mark Robinson Governor, I can assist him or serve him in any way as he leads this great state, then count me in. And so I'm thrilled to have his endorsement. It's a huge help.
Absolutely fantastic. Ladies and gentlemen, we have been talking with Hal Weatherman, Republican candidate for Lieutenant Governor. The runoff, May 14th. Early voting is going on right now. In case you're wondering, Hal does support Donald Trump. He does support building the wall. He does support deporting illegals. He is pro-Second Amendment, pro-life, pro-educate, election integrity, pro-school choice, all-around great guy. Glad to have you here with us on The Urban Conservative. Last push here, Hal. Talk to the folks. Tell them what you need. Tell them how they can support you. The floor is yours, my friend.
Well, one, just thanks for having me on tonight. It's important to get the word out. Nobody knows about the runoffs. Statewide runoffs are abysmally low in turnout. If you ever wanted your vote to count the most, now is the time. It just is so low how many people come out for a statewide turnout. And so, I asked for your support. I'm 54 years old, been married 20 years to my wife, Shelley. We have 3 teenage kids. I did have the honor and privilege to serve as a chief of staff, both to Dan Forrest and to former Congresswoman Sue Myrick. And there'll be no on-the-job training for me if I get to the point of being lieutenant governor. But I want to lead. I want to be a public, servant. I want to have a servant's heart. I want to stand up for what I believe in, but I also want to solve problems, everyday problems for people, and in some small way try to bring hope to people in a very dark world sometimes. And so, and I'm trying to show people how hard I'm going to work for you as your lieutenant governor by campaigning hard, by traveling, by putting the first fruits of my time, my money, my labor, not in 30-second attack ads against some other opponent, but actually to fuel my travel so I can meet you unfiltered, and show you the genuineness of how I want to serve. So, I ask for your support May 14th or early vote right now. You can early vote now through May 11th. If you want more information or if you're unclear of where you vote, you could go to halweatherman.com, go to the vote tab, and then just plug in your address, and it'll calculate for you. Here's where you early vote. Here's where you vote on election day. And I ask for your support.
It's right there on your screen, ladies and gentlemen. Hal Weatherman's website. We'll have a link to this for all my listening back crew. Y'all can find that in the link in the description. If you are not sure if you need to vote or not, make sure you go to your board of elections. I believe if you voted in the primary, if you're unaffiliated and pulled a Republican ballot, or if you are a Republican that voted in the primary, you need to go vote again. Vote Hal Weatherman for lieutenant governor. Hal, again, thank you for taking the time out, brother. We know you burning the road up. It is always a pleasure. Hopefully we can have you back on during the general election as our Republican nominee for lieutenant governor so we could take the fight to Rachel Hunt together. Appreciate you taking the time out. Ladies and gentlemen, For my twin brother, Raheem Architect Soto, this is Abdul Ali. This has been an Urban Conservative podcast on a Monday night. Make sure you join us tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. for Top of the Morning, right here on the Urban Conservative. This interview will be played back, so if you didn't have a chance to listen to it live tonight, don't worry. You're listening to a playback here on the Urban Conservative. For Hal Weatherman and my twin brother, this is Abdul Ali. Y'all have a great and relaxing Monday night. Thanks for supporting the Urban Conservative, y'all. Peace and love.
NASCAR. Do you like a Tribe Called Quest? Well, you gonna love the Urban Conservative.